I just think I look at the mask thing. I believe we have to wear masks, but I think it's so ridiculous. You wear a mask to walk in a restaurant, you take it off so you can eat or drink. It's like peeing in the pool in the kids section. You're still peeing in the pool.
Welcome, everybody. If you're joining, please like, share, comment. I'd love to have your participation. Feel free to join. Today's a little bit different. Jayson is not in the hemp industry, and we just met, but has quite a bit of experience in the solar renewable energy, as well as speaking as far as a podcast host and talking about, help me out here. What is your podcast focused on, Jayson?
Entrepreneurship, overcoming adversity, not taking no for an answer, stepping up to the challenge, things like that. I mean, it's called True Underdog. It's taken off. I did it as a hobby, and it's exploded. And I've had some great guests and some great traction and some great feedback, just trying to help people out that are opening a business, or they have a business, or they're in sales, or they're looking to get out of their own way and get out of the mud. That's what the podcast is about. It's a motivational entrepreneur podcast.
I love it. Well, and the entrepreneurship is where my heart lies, right? I love picking people's brains that are in the business world and challenges that they've overcome. How'd you get into this? Tell me a little bit about your background and give an introduction. Who are you? What have you done with yourself?
So Jayson Waller, CEO of Powerhome Solar. We've got about 1,800 employees, do about 700 million in sales a year. We're in 11 states. And, my first business I opened up was home security. I didn't finish high school. I didn't go to college. I had a kid in my teens, but I opened up a home security business when I was about 24. That took off, partnered with another company that got larger. That took off, sold it, had all this money and said, I'm going to do solar. Spent all the money doing solar for 2 years, didn't get a check for 22 months, sold my house, reinvested it in the solar company. And then finally it started to take off. And started to build it. Solar's a passion of mine. I mean, any time you can empower someone to own their energy, control their cost, kind of get rid of the monopoly, I'm real big into that. We got a motto in 2021. We bought the song from Twisted Sister. We're not going to take it anymore. So we have a Super Bowl ad coming out, really, challenging the utility companies, telling the folks, hey, look, we're not going to take it anymore. No more higher power rates and no more power outages. So we kind of take it to the next level and push that. And I love what we do. I mean, we use American-made panels. We don't subcontract anything out. We have our employees. We put solar on 5 NFL stadiums and 1 Major League Baseball stadium. I got the jerseys behind me of the stadiums we put solar on. So it's exciting what we're doing. It's new. It's cutting edge. And, since we kind of have a connection in the cannabis and hemp industry, we've done a lot of cannabis farms doing, putting solar out there for the lighting that they need. Why are they going to pay the utility company all this money when they can really put solar on there and control their costs and have more profits to, make a better product?
Well, and that's a big expense for those farms.
Yeah, it is.
Their power. And I think it's something that's just not thought about very often.
It's expensive.
Yeah. Talk to me about because we talk about entrepreneurship and the journey, right? And I can't tell you how many times entrepreneurs and me, myself, have said, man, I just want to throw my towel in. And then I wake up the next morning and I keep doing it. Being in your challenge and your struggle, what was it that made you say solar's the answer? And I want to keep going for this.
I got ADD really bad, which most entrepreneurs do. And I got bored of security. I did it for almost 12 years. 10 years, 11 years. And I just got bored, and I felt like everybody was doing it. There wasn't a lot of room to grow. I saw solar taking off in the West Coast and the East Coast. I thought it would be cool. I lived on a lake where there was a lot of coal ash issues from the utility company where people were getting sick. And so I felt like, I can do something that's impactful. And I feel like I'm one of the best sales folks out there. I can motivate people, get them empowered to really take it to the next level. If I believe in a product and they believe in a product, we can do really great things. So I thought, solar's cool, and it saves money, and it can save the planet. It does so many cool things. I want to get behind that. I didn't know what I was in for. It was tough. It was like a construction company, and, cash flow problem, and, you name it, everything else that could be hard. It started it started struggling, and I had to, overcome and learn with failure. But I knew I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to be ahead of the curve. I was in cell phone sales back in 01 to 05, where I sold Verizon Wireless and Bell Atlantic at the time, PDAs, Blackberries. And I would go to companies and be like, this is your future. You're not going to have a fax machine. They'd be like, you're out of your mind. I'm like, no, this is what's coming. I feel that way about solar. I believe that there's going to be a day that everybody either has solar or they're buying into a grid of solar to control their cost. And the utility company is going to be a distributor, because we need more energy every day, and we're not going to make any more power plants. So this is what's going to happen. And it makes sense to utilize the sun. It makes sense to utilize, solar panels with the longevity that they have. So I wanted to be at the forefront of that. And I mean, we are in the markets that we're in the Southeast and Midwest. We're the largest. We dominate. We do a lot of social media ads and lots of TV exposure. I do the commercials because I'm the most passionate, and they put me as the face. It wasn't my choice, but I do the commercials, and I'm out there all the time.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions on your solar. What did the effects of the pandemic really open up for people?
Well, we doubled in size during then. And I don't say it's because of the pandemic, but it was more eyes on the television. And we started offering battery and storage where people can actually control their power and then use it at night. And with EV cars coming out, that's what people want to do. They don't want to have to charge their car and pay a premium to the utility company to charge it. You might as well keep a gas car. So, that on top of more people are working from home, they're more worried about their costs. People are scared of power outages. They need their medicine, their refrigeration, the how scared everyone was, toilet paper and food. That whole thing became like a perfect storm, and really, morphed our company to be even larger and capitalize. We saw an opportunity to really help folks out when they needed it most. And so we really gained a lot of traction during this.
I've been taken back by the realization of our need for bringing our supply into our community or into our rural area, right? Mm-hmm. Just to protect our groups or our bubble, right? And so I see it even being more at the top of conversation, even around small dinner tables of, what's our alternative resource? What's your opinion about hemp?
Look, I think hemp and cannabis, I have no issues with it. I mean, I think cannabis is going to be like alcohol, as long as you handle it maturely and you control yourself and you don't take advantage of it. I think there's a good need for it. I think I'm not real big into medicine or narcotics or painkillers. I think that's the wrong thing. I don't like medicines. I struggle to take Advil if I'm in pain. But I don't do marijuana or cannabis either. I've tried it in my past, and I'm just not made for me. I freak out. I'm like, what's going on? It's just not my thing. My body freaks out, and I'm so high strung. It's just not for me, but I see the need for it. I see the health need for it. I see for anxiety and depression. I see that, and I agree with that. And I think that's a lot safer if controlled than taking narcotics where people are making things. And then as for hemp, the opportunity to make other products and clothes and tools, there's a huge need there. I mean, we got to quit using steel and metal and plastic and all these other things that we utilize that isn't good for our planet. We got to start to, turn the corner a little bit and being more cautious and proactive in what we're doing. So I think there's a need for both of it. And obviously, it seems that more states are getting behind it. And it seems like eventually this will be a national thing and it'll take off, and it'll be great for those involved in it.
Oh, yeah. I think that just as we start to see states that are adopting it just like a commodity, we're moving into the front of commodity. And where I see huge value is on this renewable energy, an alternative source that we can generate biofuels and thousands, tens and thousands of new products at a much better, healthier resource for our planet. Right?
I agree 100%. And I think that, the more we start to turn these leaves and figure out technology of using natural stuff, I think is the way. I mean, look, everything's organic now, right? Because they realized, all these things we put in stuff are just bad. we're going to start evolving more to that, I think, as we go into the future, especially with this pandemic. Everybody's freaked out. They just want to be healthier. I mean, myself included, I started juicing recently, where I'm actually taking real fruits and juicing. I never even knew how a juicer worked. I was like, that's amazing. I stuck a whole apple in there and, it's like, this is cool. And then I tasted, I was nervous. I had some spinach in it. Then I had a bunch of berries and stuff. And I don't even like spinach. And I was like, me and my son were scared to drink it. We tasted, we're like, that's legit. So
I know. I've said that for a little while now. And it's funny. It doesn't really matter what you put in. It comes out and it tastes okay. There's times it comes out and I'm like, I wouldn't serve this to anybody, but it's all right. It tastes good. Just the fruits and vegetables. I'm all about the juicing. That's awesome.
Good.
So tell me, in your pandemic, how many kids do you have?
I have 4 kids. I have a 22-year-old daughter, an 18-month-old granddaughter, and a grandson on the way. I have a 17-year-old daughter, 13-year-old daughter, and a 10-year-old son. So I'm a gilf, a grandpa you'd like to feed. I'm only 41, so I stick with the gilf comment. Since
I like it. Well, so during the pandemic, how have they done? Was there a lot of change or adjustment?
Well, we've all had the I like to call it the China virus, so everyone knows where I stand, but we've all had it. And, I think that, we had it recently, actually. We thought we had it in April. I guess we didn't, because then my daughter and my granddaughter got it before Christmas. And then when we flew over there after Christmas, we all got it. My wife still doesn't have smell or taste, but, we got through it. I look at it and I go, I believe it's real. I believe it's an issue, but I believe that we have, because of the fear and because of television and because of the media, I believe we've made this so much worse. You've seen depression go up. You've seen suicides go up. You've seen, ironically, flu go way down. People that would have caught flu and got sick and possibly died, they've caught COVID and died. Both are wrong and horrible, and you don't want anyone to die. But the numbers have shifted. And so, there is a problem, but it wasn't world ending. And I just hate it because so many business owners lost their companies. So many kids are depressed. They're not getting an education. I just think the damage that we have done is worse than the disease itself. I think the fear factor of not knowing what the future holds with it. Are we going to get a vaccine? Which obviously we have it now, and how contagious it is scared everybody, and not knowing about it scared everybody. I'm just disappointed that what the media did, because you had kids, even my kids were freaking out after watching the news. It's unfortunate that everybody had to live in panic for so many months. And it's not to be scared to be proactive, but, and you have to be proactive and smart because everyone's situation's different. I've got a kid with autoimmune deficiency, and I've got elderly people that were, in our family that, you worry about. But I also worry the same worries if they catch pneumonia or if they catch the flu. And so you just got to be proactive and smart, but to shut the world down, I hate that, especially for the kids.
Yeah, I think it's been a telling sign of opportunity and tragedy, right? I think that, on the entrepreneur side, what have you done and what have you seen, or what advice do you have for these entrepreneurs that really have to take a pivot to survive when it is their industry? I mean, the hospitality industry is suffering, right? And so
I just think I look at the mask thing. I believe we have to wear a mask, but I think it's so ridiculous. You wear a mask to walk in a restaurant, you take it off so you can eat or drink. It's like peeing in the pool in the kids section. You're still peeing in the pool. So either we're all in and nobody can go anywhere, or we're not. To see people literally on the news crying that lost their restaurant, and a mile away restaurants are open, is horrible. It's horrible. And the power that these local, and look, they have a thankless job. A governor, a mayor, they have thankless jobs. Nobody are like, hey, you guys are doing a great job. I get it. And as an organization, we had to make a decision. What are we going to do? And, we're an essential service. And so those decisions are hard. And not everybody you can't blanket everything. Everybody's situation's different. And so we were really proactive. We knew fear was different for everybody. We elected to stay open. We thought about it. There was an argument with the executives. And ultimately, I made the decision for us to stay open because Lucy, this is before they had any unemployment out there, before they had any kind of packages for businesses. We had over 800 employees when the pandemic started, so we weren't getting anything anyways. But we didn't know they were going to have, checks and stimulus checks for employees. So when this came out in March, April, we had to make a decision. Do we shut down and go furlough? What do we do? And we debated and debated, and we made the decision that we were going to stay open because Lucy, who needs to pay her mortgage and pay for formula, or Mike, who's the only provider in their home, has to pay for rent. I mean, you got to try. So as like I said, as long as we have customers wanting the product and we have employees wanting to show up, we'll be as safe as possible. We'll get masks, we'll get sanitizer, we'll separate, whatever we've got to do. We need to give them an opportunity. And what we're going to do is take the executives off payroll. So all the executives went off payroll for several months. And we shared that with the employees. We wanted to show them that we're not staying open for the company's benefit. We're staying open for your benefit. We're staying open for those that need to make a check. And for those that are scared, and for those that are worried, and for those that can't go to work, stay home, get your PTO, use your vacation. After that, go inactive. We'll talk after this thing settles down. That was the take. So we had about 15 or 20% of the staff that did that. We had 80% that worked, but then we took off. And we had directors in our company volunteering their commission bonus so we could stay open. It was crazy. But we had so many customers wanting it at the time that we ended up adding over 1,000 employees during the pandemic, not losing. So we lost 20%, but we actually added 1,000 more people. So it was a wild ride. We have, like I said, 1,800 employees. I don't quote me, but around 40 cases of COVID, maybe 50, and only one person we know that was hospitalized. He was 70 years old, smoked his whole life, had RSV, pneumonia, you name it. He caught it. He was the first one to catch it in our company. And when he caught it, we shut that office down, paid those guys all their pay for a few weeks. And, we've just been really proactive. We've had 40 other cases. People are out, what the CDC guidelines are, 10, 14 days, they come back. And, we've continued to roll on. And I think that the biggest thing to entrepreneurs out there is when you live in fear, when you show panic, you're going to have chaos. Your employees, your family, they look at the leaders to what are they going to do? I'm not saying Trump did good things or bad things, because surely, I feel like we traded one clown for another clown. That's my personal opinion. But I also feel that I thought it was good he didn't panic. Had he panicked, I think we would have had more chaos. And I think that that's important to remember, that when things are going bad, panic is the last resort, because when people panic, people freak out. They quit their jobs. They don't go places. They go in a hole. And I think that I would advise, we didn't panic. We treaded through it, and we were on calls every day, all day, with attorneys and with health departments and, with the CDC, you name it. Every jurisdiction was different, and we spent hours and hours and hours and hours on it. And we evolved every time. We got better, and we shared what was going on, and we were, proactive with our employees. And so we came through it okay. But you're right. The hospitality business, I mean, there's nothing worse than seeing people who, single mom who's a waitress that can't get a paycheck now. And we don't have enough money, it's just sad, but that's the world we live in. And it's crazy that, all these senators and legislation, they can still go to work. They didn't dedicate any of their check. They didn't lose any pay. I mean, just be grateful I wasn't president. The whole government wouldn't have got paid, and the people would have. I mean, I'm not president and I'm not in politics, but they did it wrong.
Sure. Well, and I think that everybody can say the way that this was rolled out, it was pretty scary, right? And to me, it was the unknown, and the power of the media was really exposed.
I was scared, and I was like nervous, like, oh boy, this is not. I mean, we drove from Michigan to North Carolina on Easter, and I'm like, we're not stopping at bathroom stops. We're not doing any of that. I was freaking out.
Yeah. Well, there's the power of your media, right?
Yeah.
So how do you, as we focus on hemp and the supply chain and this focus for renewable energy and bringing it within states and counties and rural areas, what do you propose a solution, or where do you see the education piece going on behalf of our rural areas that don't have broadband, that don't have access to our podcasts and regular, viewings like these? What do you suggest? How do we really help those rural areas get access to solar power or hemp or any of these other resources?
Well, I mean, I feel like everybody's got social media, and we do most of our advertising on social media. I don't care if they're in Bodunk, West Virginia, they've got Facebook, right? I mean, they do. They might not have great cable stations, they might not watch podcasts, and whatever. But
Sure.
we feel like everybody mostly has social media. We advertise that way, and I think trying to educate folks on how about hemp or about solar. We just got to continue to get the messages out on every platform. I'm a big believer, we market on everything: LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. Like it's scorched earth, guerrilla marketing everywhere and anywhere we can is kind of the motto. And therefore those certain ponds of people that, they only watch this, or maybe they're elderly and they only watch that, or maybe they're young and they're only into that. We try not to miss any opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that as long as companies are continuing to do that and understand that they're not fishing with a pole, they need to fish with a net, then they'll do better.
Okay, now what about this education piece, right? Do you find still in solar that there's a need to educate why should people be paying attention to solar power compared to power companies? I mean, is cost really benefit?
Yeah, well, I think that the perception is that if they're going to get solar, they're going to write a big check. And that is not what happens. So we come in and we finance the panels for around their savings. So they're literally reducing one bill and taking that savings and paying for another. But when we go into a home, we say, hey, Mandi, what's the longest bill in your house? You're usually going to say, my mortgage. No, your power bill and your water bill are forever. There's never an end date. What's your interest rate on your power bill? I don't know. Well, it goes up every year, 5, 10%. They just keep increasing rates. It's not because the kids left the windows open. It's because the utility companies have to make more money, more supply and demand. So they charge more for power. This is a way to get a flat payment and control that cost that doesn't go up on them. And the best part is there's an end date. Then that power that we provide is free. So when we go into a home, we're educating them. We're not selling them anything. We educate them on the process and the benefit. And a light bulb goes off and they go, oh, this makes sense. I have to pay for power anyways. I might as well pay a flat rate that I own, that I get some tax credits, some value to my home. And when it's paid off, it's free. Because people think, well, what's a return? Well, I mean, really, it's day one because you're financing it. I mean, what's your return on your power bill? 0. You're going to pay forever. Now, if you pay cash, it might be a 5 to 7 or 9 year return. But most people, 98% of our customers, they finance it. It makes the most sense. Money's cheap right now. You might as well finance it and then just shift that payment over. So you pay way less to the utility company. You're paying down your loan. It's like renting a house or owning a house. You can pay rent and you never own it, or you can buy a house and you own it. We have to educate them on that.
Yeah, that it's the education piece. This is something that I really have focused on, right? And I'm sure when solar was a new thing, it was the same concept. You're having to teach people what it is and how to use it and why it's of value more so than a common occurrence.
Very
true. On the
entrepreneur
side, shifting away from hemp, but into just entrepreneurs, when you're speaking to entrepreneurs, what's the biggest struggle you're seeing or hearing from them now? And where do you see it? Where has it shifted from?
I think that the biggest misconception for an entrepreneur is that they believe when they open a business, they're going to be rich and they're chasing money. And it's like, no, you got to get used to eating like ramen noodles, SpaghettiOs, peanut butter and jelly. If you want dessert, take bread and cinnamon and sugar, cut it up and shake it, because you have to make the least amount of money or no money to grow a business. It's not, I got easy steps. 1, pay your people first. 2, pay your vendors. 3, reinvest into the company. If there's a little bit left, I mean, crumbs, pay yourself something. Because if you do it that way, you can build something. And the misconception is they think, I'm going to open a business, I'm going to be driving a Ferrari. No.
And I can take all the time off work I want. There's this.
Right. They're like, you're opening a business because you want to be your own boss, do things your way, and empower change and something great in the world that you believe in. It isn't about getting rich. I know several entrepreneurs that run a great business that are happy, that aren't rich, and that's okay. They're doing what they want to do. When you chase money, you fail every single time because your initiatives and what when you're stuck like, oh, I can't do that for the company because I have to pay myself this. I have to make this. I have to make this car payment. You're handcuffed. You're held hostage of making smart business decisions because you need to pay big bills. Well, if you're going to open a business, you better tighten down and assume you're not getting paid shit for a while.
Mm-hmm. I'm laughing because I can't tell you the number of tears that I've shed over the last few months. And like I said, wake up and do it all over again because it's that entrepreneur mindset of, so when you have you seen a shift in entrepreneurs' stress or focus as things have, and I say this because when people say, well, how's your business going? And for years I've been in hospitality and now I'm in hemp, and I switched before all of this happened, thankfully, but it's a completely different mindset. I see this as a huge opportunity zone for entrepreneurs to make massive change and find a way to bring manufacturing or production into the United States and really thrive, bring sustainable resources back. So I'm curious on outside of the hemp and agriculture, and I know ag is really suffering, but where do you see things and where do
I see solar or renewable impacting other industries? Is that the question?
More where do you see entrepreneurs' focus shifting to as this, is it
a lot more online businesses? More people online than ever. People have access to their fingertips. There's more apps coming out, more platforms coming out. People are, we advertise on TV for credibility and branding, but it's not the same impact as online. And I think that, with the newer generation out, everything is technology and apps and social and, all the funny things that the kids say nowadays. That, entrepreneurs need to be ahead of that curve. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be food industry, online, prepping meals. I think it's going to be dietary stuff, people trying to get healthy, especially after this pandemic and the weight gain. I think it's going to be clothing companies. I think, there's just so many opportunities, platforms, media platforms. There's just so many opportunities that you can do online and scale. I think the businesses that are going to hurt is commercial real estate, because I think people are so used to working from home, even though it drives most people nuts. They're not going to want to go back to the office every day. And I think that that's going to be a struggle as we start to open up. So you're going to see more people working from home, have an opportunity to do things. And so, the Zooms of the world are going to do well, but, it's going to be kind of like cell phones changed everything, videos like this and this kind of platform, that's going to change everything. That's what I believe, just because the world we live in now, you're going to see more entrepreneur spirits going to apps or programs that do this, but maybe do it on another level. Right. So I think you're going to see a lot of that.
Well, it's definitely a new way to connect with people. Like I said, I would have never thought that carrying a Zoom call would be a 8-hour-a-day thing for me.
You and me both.
I was face to face with everybody for a while.
Yeah.
So it's completely different. So on your podcast, tell me what some of your most impactful interviews have been, or topics. What are some really...
I've had Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. That was fun.
Yeah.
I've had John Lee Dumas, who runs the Entrepreneur on Fire show. His show is a top 10 show. He's amazing, and he's been doing this a long time. This is his whole life.
Yeah,
he's been fantastic. I've had Heather Monahan, who's the confidence creator. The babe in heels, as they refer to her, boss in heels. She was fantastic. I had JT McCormick, Javon McCormick. He had a great story. I've just mixed up. And then a lot of them, I just rant. and, talk about anxiety or talk about entrepreneurship or talk about leadership or talk about confidence. So I have a Thursday episode that I'm interviewing somebody. And then I have a Monday episode where either I'm getting interviewed or I'm just ranting. It's called Underbites. So I've had Darren McCarty from the Red Wings. He's, that was another great one. A couple NFL players, Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
So, a lot of them have been impactful. They're all different. Some people, my energy is super high, so I get bored. I'm like, I wish this person had more energy. But then sometimes it's like, holy shit, I could talk all day. So it just depends on who I'm talking to.
I have that too. And usually it's me, though. There's times something happens and I'm not engaged, or some kind of conversation just doesn't flow. But
yeah.
So what are some of the messages? I'm curious about the messages that these guys, like, what really has impacted you, as advice from other people?
Well, David Meltzer, I had on the show, and he's a mentor of mine. He's fantastic. He talks about gratitude and thanking people, never apologizing for being late, but thank them for their patience.
Yeah.
He's somebody who built up to 100, the movie Jerry Maguire was built on him. And he made tons of money, lost it, and then he built it back. And I was on a show with him recently called 2 Minute Drill, where entrepreneurs come and pitch their business, 5 of them, and $50,000 winners picked. I was a judge on 3 of the episodes. So he got to mentor me. We became friends. So season 2, I'll be on every episode with him. But he's cool. And it's all about gratitude and giving back and trying to impact the world. So he's a good one. I've got a CEO coach, Brian Elias, that works with me to align some of the things. Like I said, I don't have an education. Everything I've learned is from experience and failure. So, I still don't know everything. So I bring people around me that are smart, that I can lean on, that I can trust, that I can be coached from. And then vice versa. I can coach them on my vision, my motivational theories or thinking, what I see happening. I have a really good sixth sense of seeing how things are going to lay out and processing it, So it's good to find people like that can really help motivate you or keep you inspired. And then, I recently had Hala from Young and Profiting Podcast. I know nothing about podcasting. Started this in February, kind of took off. And then I hired her team, and they really have done a great job. And so she mentors me, and that she just interviewed Matthew McConaughey. I've already given her crap. I said, you better get him on my show. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm your biggest client. And you can't feed you before you feed me. My show's a little bigger than hers, but she's going to hook it up. But still, you get some big names like that on. That's really cool. We've got Mark Wahlberg that'll probably be coming on. I got a relationship with somebody that's partners with him. And we're going to continue to do that. I mean, you bring some big names on, you hear their stories that help impacts it. I have a book coming out in April I've been writing. I'm not physically writing it because I can't spell for shit, but I've got somebody that's a ghostwriter that I'm talking to. So it'll be done in April, out in May. And I'm excited about that. It's called Own Your Power. No effing excuses. So
okay.
It'll be good. It'll be a motivation. I want to have real stories of what things I've had to overcome that hopefully can inspire people and give them tips to get through the grind. And that's it. Surrounding yourself with people that can empower you to be better every day, I think is good. So
what's some advice you have? Being somebody that's a new entrepreneur, what's some advice? And then to a more seasoned entrepreneur, maybe.
I would say, don't quit early. There's no elevator in life or business. You got to take the steps. So you have to set small goals, 30, 60, 90, 180. If you set unrealistic goals you can't accomplish in 6 months, you're going to be defeated. You're going to be down. You're going to be upset. You're going to feel like you're a failure. But if you set realistic goals, people that lose weight, I suck at losing weight. I eat like shit. But people that lose weight, they're like, I want to lose 50 pounds. Well, they're not going to lose 50 pounds in a week, right? It's not, they're going to lose 50 pounds in a day. Shit, you're probably not going to lose 50 pounds in a month. You'll probably die. But you can lose 2 pounds in a week or 5 pounds in a week. So you have to take the steps. You have to take little wins. So when you're building a business, you can't go, I'm going to go 0 to 50 million. You got to worry about getting 50 grand. Then you got to worry about 300 grand. Then you got to worry about 800 grand. Then you got to break $1 million, then 3 million, then 5 million. If you set small, and I wouldn't say small, realistic short-term and medium goals, Quit looking at the long-term goals. Let that be a dream or a destination you'd like to get to. But on this tank of gas that you have, focus on the 3 or 4 things that are reachable. And that's why I say 30, 60, 90, 180. Don't look past 6 months. And if you stick with that, then you won't feel defeated. You'll start getting some wins. And eventually you get up those stairs a little faster. And then you look back and go, wow, I did it. But it took so many steps, but I'm here. Because you can't cheat it. It just doesn't happen overnight. And I think that's the biggest thing is you'll see somebody that's got a great product, they got a great mind, they're ready to go. They feel defeated. It's not growing as fast. And I'm not number one yet. I haven't grown this big, and they beat themselves up, and then they quit. And you just can't quit. I mean, I didn't get a paycheck for almost 2 years. We were losing money. All my life savings went in there. Sold my house. My wife was giving me the stink eye. Like, what? I'm like, listen. I got to do this. And then it started to turn, and it didn't turn overnight. It started to turn, and we started to grow. I didn't get from 0 to 100 without hitting 1 through 99. And so you have to take time and set small, realistic goals.
What's your plan moving forward? Where do you want to be in, 5 years, 10 years as an individual and as a business? Where are you headed?
As a business, I think that, we may go public or do a SPAC. We're looking at some things right now. As a individually, I'm just going to continue to be the best husband, father, grandfather I can be, and continue to, we have a motto at Powerhome called BAM, build a movement, one panel, one customer, one employee, one vision, and one mission at a time. And I'm just going to continue to do that. And then the podcast will eventually build up itself as well. So I have fun doing that. It's a release for me to give back. Podcast doesn't make me any money. It probably could. I'm getting a decent amount of downloads, but I'm not interested in the money. I'm interested in giving back. Maybe one day if I don't have a job at Powerhome, which I don't see that anytime soon, well, then maybe hopefully that pays me. But I don't, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and give back and empower people and get people to own their power as well.
You think you'll stay out in Michigan?
I'm in Michigan and North Carolina, but I'm getting ready to be in Michigan and Florida. So I'm buying a house in Florida, going back and forth. I don't like the cold here, but I do love the summers here, and I travel a lot, but I love the people here. Michigan, the people I've been all over. The people in Michigan are the best.
That's great. I've got a girlfriend that she's actually a huge supporter for the association. She travels the same way back and forth from Michigan to Florida. So she's in Florida right now. I'm sure if she's listening, but I'm jealous. I love the weather down in Florida. And I'm
going there in March till July. So
okay. And I love it this time of year. There's no humidity.
Where are you at? You're in Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Wyoming originally, so I feel like Utah is beautiful. We get all 4 seasons. Our mountains are wonderful.
Yeah, I can't do the Wyomings or the Utahs. It's pretty to look at. I need movement. It's too, one of our sales executives, he's like, I'm retiring and buying a house in Wyoming. It's fun to visit. I've never been. I can't. I've seen pictures. I need busy. I like room service.
Yeah.
I have soft hands and clean nails. I can't hunt. I can't fish, and I'm not into the woods. I'm not a tent guy. I'm a hotel guy.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not my cup of tea. But everybody's different.
It's been growing like crazy, though. I saw a stat the other day that Idaho, Utah, Wyoming. Montana.
Yeah, but when you have 3,000 people and you gain 400, of course, it seems like you're growing. I'm just being honest. When you go to SoCal, you got 50 million people, and it's a little different.
Well, I think everybody's leaving Southern California and coming over.
They're going everywhere. I think you guys are gaining a few. I'm sure they're like, I'm done. I'm going back to the, what it was like in the 1800s. Let's go.
That's exactly what's happened.
I've been to Utah, and I was like, this is, they're like, you have to order food in order to have a drink. Really?
And you only get one.
Yeah. This isn't normal. What is going on here? I was baffled. It was beautiful, but that is and I'm not a big drinker. It just felt awkward. It felt too controlled.
I think you nailed it. And coming from Wyoming, where there's a bar in every corner, it was a big adjustment for me. But I love it. I love the four seasons. I think equally as much as what.
Are you sure you don't just have spring and winter?
Our summers, it's beautiful. However, what makes it pretty, or what annoys me about it, I think, is what keeps it so clean. It's
so
different.
I am getting a number here. If I've got 5 minutes left, if that's okay, I'm getting blown up. So I've got a 5-minute countdown.
Well, let's just kind of wrap this up. I really enjoyed your conversation today. I'd love to continue to build a relationship. Yep. I wholeheartedly believe that companies and entrepreneurs out there that aren't exploring hemp and integrating hemp within their solutions, they're behind the game. And so I'd love to open it up for anybody that you know that's looking for opportunity, anybody that has questions about hemp for production, any piece of the supply chain from farm to cradle. I'd love to support and continue to build a relationship with you.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Yeah, right in that spot where
this is live on StreamYard or YouTube or LinkedIn or what?
Facebook and YouTube right now, and Twitch. I haven't been approved for LinkedIn, so shout out. I don't know how to get approved, but I'd love to be able to stream these types of videos.
I don't know either. I have a team that does it, but I am live. I can do live there now and YouTube, but
on LinkedIn.
Yeah, but I've only done it once or twice, I think.
Okay.
I do what they tell me. They set it up and I go, okay.
Well, you tell them I may need their help. Well, but I've got a great team. They're fabulous. It's definitely new, and I do a lot of content. And then after this, we actually have meetings on a regular basis where we do different discussions. And so I'll keep you in mind. And if anything comes up, whatever I can do to support you, you please reach out as well.
Absolutely. And for those out there, check out the True Underdog podcast. If you want solar, go to powerhome.com.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jayson.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
See you later.